Hello.
Hello, JF.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. What an arc of my life that I didn't expect.
Oh man, I envy you. I've been wanting to kill my wife for years, even before I met her. That was always a dream of mine. Can you bump him up, please?
Women dream about the wedding day.
I dream about the day that I'm
getting away with it.
hauled off in cuffs. No,
Right.
no, I want people to know that I did it. I want women to know that I did it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, do you want to catch people up on what's happened to you? I'm sorry for laughing, but it's sad.
Yeah,
it's sad, but it's also a lot of it's funny to me. Or
It's quite funny, yes.
Yeah,
Well, I've always
hilarious.
been dating troubled women and who do crazy stuff, and it always falls onto me to be responsible for what they do, because our society cannot process the idea that within the cranium of a woman there are processes that happen which could be called decision making. That doesn't exist. There is no such thing.
Yes.
The woman is a robot. It's like a Tamagotchi, and if the Tamagotchi dies, it's your fault. It cannot be from within.
So your wife left your house a long time ago. She said, "I'm out."
Like how long?
In June, right?
Yeah.
Yes, June.
She decided that she just needs to go wander. Like she needs to go on a long walk, right?
Does she
went out
say
for
anything?
cigarettes.
She's always been a drifter before I knew her. So she's done that all of her adult life. Most of her adult life, her own parents, her best friends didn't know where she was. She was always in a new country, always traveling, always passing from one border to the other. And suddenly this girl enters in my life and she lives a trad lifestyle with Papa JF for 5 years, which I think is commendable. I mean, that she was able to kind of leave her drifter lifestyle. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I have touched an object of the universe. I have affected its state. I understand that at some point the physical universe bounces back, and that there would be one day where she would just go back to her old lifestyle. She decided that day was June. So she leaves my home and I'm all good. You know, I'm just a dropper. I'm a dropper husband.
Yeah.
I will drop you wherever you want. And I dropped her exactly where she asked me to drop her.
I mean, this is a fantasy that I've had. Can you just drop me off somewhere else? You got it. 5 years is about the end of a relation. I mean, then it starts to repeat after that.
Yes.
You know?
They should all be ended after 5 years.
Yeah, mandatory.
Right. No, wait,
And you mentioned
what
the
country are you in?
ocean. Technically, it was a few meters away from the ocean. So she was still on land at the moment I dropped her.
Uh-huh.
And I did so in front of cameras because you know, Dick Masterson, what the modern world is. If you don't have a camera, as you do every single move of your life, they will suspect you of murder within whatever second you're not being filmed.
So the way you're talking about it, even now, it makes it sound like murder. Like the way you're saying I dropped her off in front of a camera.
She technically was on land at the time.
She was very close to the ocean, though. That's the last time I saw her. But you're right. Like you're right to do that. I listened to you on a very short interview you had last night where this girl was pretending to be Nancy Drew and she was trying to bust you on stuff.
Yeah.
JF was talking about dropping his wife off near a gas station and she's like, "Well, did you get gas? Is there a receipt that pays you?"
It's like,
and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck are you talking about?"
Not everything is a clue.
Yeah, exactly. Women are terrible investigators because they think that questioning every detail is a productive means. She was questioning details that the police has already asserted as absolutely true. She was so behind the track in her questioning. But I mean, what is there to expect, you know? Females have not evolved to think or to relate to reality. As it turns out, when your main job in life is to prepare a spaghetti sauce, it's not that dramatic if you put Oregon instead of thyme.
Yes, it's for real.
It's for real. This sounds like this accent sounds like an amazing character to me.
No, he's called in multiple times before. JF has called in.
No, I remember. Oh my God. Where are you? Where are you? Can you say?
Well,
in the world.
Can you shut the fuck up for 1 second?
No.
And not try to dox me here. I mean, I have people wanting to kill me because, I mean, I have multiple cycles of my marketing strategy that there are still people wanting to kill me from 2 years ago, from 3 years ago, from 7 years ago.
Really?
You think I'm going to tell you where I am?
I mean,
I am in
a portion of the world.
Are you in-
portion of the world.
I mean, yeah, what part of
North Hemisphere.
what part? Oh, okay.
North Hemisphere,
Canada.
because the whole rest of the
Great.
planet
Yeah.
is covered in shit.
Great.
So I know a lot of your wife is into like or I've heard her speak a little bit on the subject, but it sounds like she's very into like music festivals and like hippie lifestyle and like not being tied to anything and being off the grid and stuff like that. Is that accurate?
Exactly. Absolutely. She's been in those parties. She calls them parties.
Yeah.
But they are places of degeneracy that I do not approve.
Yes, I'm in those
Okay.
scenes. I know a lot of women in those scenes, and they do this. I'm not
They are trouble.
not some of them. All of them will just like kind of disappear. If they're
Yes.
done with a relationship, they're just out. They're gonna go live on the other side. They'll go live on some compound, and just that's like they just need like a total reset in their brains.
Yeah.
So when you described it, I was like, oh yeah, I know other guys this has happened to.
Well, they exist.
It's not
these people.
fun.
Yeah. So when do the cops or when are you suspected of anything?
Well, it was happiness for 4 months, and no one ever thought in the family of my wife, nor me, nor her parents and closed ones. No one. It never crossed their mind to call the police seriously, because that's just what Mama JF does. That's just her behavior.
Yeah.
So they know.
I understand the normie mind. I was once like you guys, like not you, Dick Master son,
yeah.
but I was once like the people in the audience. Perhaps you are worried for your loved ones. You wouldn't be able to endure 2 days without them. I have been raped by life. I have been passed through amounts of suffering induced by crazy women that have totally annihilated any form of emotion inside of me. It has blackened a dark spot on my heart. And so at this point, yes, I'm capable to endure 3 months of female liberty. Sorry. I'm not the old me. Something bizarre happened.
You grew up. That's a second period.
I grew up.
A second
Well,
puberty in men. It's their total
Yes.
purge of their emotion. Like I don't think of women in terms of a woman anymore. I just think of them in terms of numbers. They're all identical.
Exactly.
I saw a clip. This was a clip getting passed around where like we got him. This fucker is guilty because on a stream it would have been around the time your wife left or you murdered her. You talked about hiring a cleaning crew.
Flash.
Yeah, slash murder. When the leaving slash murdering took place, you talked about hiring a cleaning crew to come into your house and that they sterilized it.
Okay.
Perhaps
I didn't hire a crew. I did clean my house because the imprint of a woman on a house is dramatic. It is dangerous for the pillars of the house, for the stability, for the cleanliness. And so I did arrange the house in my taste when my wife left me. Sorry. That doesn't make me a murderer.
But
it was just because you said sterilized. They're all like, "Oh, see,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
sterilized
Yeah,
because of all the blood."
I've been talking like a serial killer for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's my whole shtick. It's like, and
And that she had an electronic trace. I also heard you say that. So you were like, because her
Yes.
phone, I don't know, what's her electronic trace?
the thing is, I've been working on covering police stuff for about 10 years, seriously, and I go deep inside police questioning, investigation techniques. I go deep into mass shooter type of stuff, and I have the technical language. And so when people ask me, Jeff, will you be a murder suspect? I explain to them in technical police language, no. There is an electronic alibi available where she has left an electronic trace far from mine. That was too autistic for most people. People have read this sentence and said, that's further evidence that he did it. An electronic alibi is the simple fact that we are so traced in our life with everything we do on the internet that,
Yeah.
I mean, personally, my life is on the internet. You can literally know exactly where I'm at, maybe 20 hours per day. And
Yeah.
AI could tell you the next 4 hours where I am. So that is what I meant by an electronic alibi. I knew for sure that Mama Jeff was safe when she left me, that she was safe for at least 2 days after leaving me, that she was on her way for traveling, for her travel plans, and she was giving me signs that she was away from my home and alive. That makes me impossible to be a murderer.
Yeah. I've also noticed that Well, you guys, you have kids, a kid or kids, or is that doxing? I read
Well,
somewhere.
I do not talk about this subject.
You don't talk about this
I do not
subject?
engage on this subject. No.
Okay, so the only reason I bring it up is because I've noticed that when people talk to you about this, they say, well, there's no way a woman would do this. And then their next step is, well, there's no way a woman would do this to kids. And then, well, there's something you must have done to drive her away. Like, it's like this endless like way of like, well, you must have done something.
You're
Either
guilty
you
of
killed
something.
Her, you killed her, you meant, because there's no way a woman would just leave her family, right? And fucking newsflash. Women go out for cigarettes too.
Yeah, they do. I've seen it.
Women drop their babies in a box. There are literally boxes put up across the U.S. for women to practically drop their newborn into it.
No, we have mail slots.
Yeah.
There's like panels at fire stations.
They don't
where
do
you
it
can,
in a dumpster.
Yeah, you can move like a bank deposit, put the baby in, and then shoves it in.
Yeah,
it's like a fucking mail, like a pizza. Like order up, here you go, like at a bank. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I mean, I had an audio problem here, but yeah, ultimately you have two buttons. Either there are boxes for women to drop their newborn, or women never leave their babies. Both options aren't available. Decide what society we're in.
Yeah. They do exist. Do you know if she's coming back? Do you want her to come back?
I do not know if she's coming back, and as a libertarian, I have no say on, I am neutral on whether she wants to come back or not. If she comes back, she knows exactly the conditions of life with me. It's very relaxed conditions of life. I don't have much demands. I demand monogamy, I demand fidelity, loyalty, and non-physical attacks or non-physical destructions. Those are the terms of my life. And she can come back to it any point, except if I have found another woman. If I'm with another woman, I cannot take her back.
She's on a clock. She's on a...
And let me tell you, I have experienced for 1 week the killer's bounty. That is the phenomenon, the psychological phenomenon by which females are more attracted to you when you are suspected of the murder of your wife. Holy shit, it is there. It exists. The killer's bounty is real.
What have women emailed you?
Because women fall in love with serial killers.
Yes.
They have? What do they say?
I mean, it's incredible. Within a single sentence, they tell you that they're single, that they're ready for insemination. I used to be at insemination within the first year. And as I moved into e-celeb territory, I was at insemination on the first day. At this point, I've reached insemination on the first sentence.
Is that your goal?
Well, life moves fast.
Inseminating as quickly as possible?
It is not my goal. I'm just a family guy who wanted a large family with a single woman, but the world didn't want to give it to me. And so I'm on a quest of vengeance. And I spray and pray until I get my vengeance.
Okay, so now, the murdering reputation is working in your favor now.
Absolutely. And so I was like, okay, this is hardcore. I've already built a CV of being one of the greatest assholes in the world. That is fun. It's jokes on the internet, invectives, racist, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, this is the next level. OJ style, just murder.
You're the French OJ,
so the
French-Canadian OJ. I wanted somebody to Photoshop me and you in a white Bronco before you called in. So
my philosophy is you deal with the hands that you're given. And I've been given the hand of possible murderer. I'm going to have to play it, you know.
You got to tell her I deal with the hands that life gave me, and you deal with these hands, right? See how it goes for you. Do you think he did it? Do you think he killed his wife, Sean? Hearing him talk about it?
I have fucking no idea. I have no idea if any of this is on the level.
I'm kind of hoping he did, and he gets away with it, right? Which I would gladly help. You know?
Sure. That's
that's the racism thing is funny because you've always been hit with being a huge racist because you talk about IQ flatly, right? Like racial IQ.
You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, that's illegal. But now you have definitely upgraded because now you have the murderer stigma and label.
Constantly reinventing himself.
They will never let that drop. These girls, I mean, even if your wife shows
20 years
up.
from now.
Yeah, go ahead. Even if your wife comes back, they're going to go, well, he still murdered her somehow. I don't know how. Maybe that's a clone or something.
He killed her emotionally.
Yeah.
That is exactly what they will say. So I have accepted already that for the next 30 years of my life, I'm just a murderer in the mind of some losers.
And is your wife sitting out there? Like, does she monitor? Is Mama JF sitting out there monitoring this and going like, "Haha, gotcha"? Like, because she could
the thing
dispel
is, she
it easily.
explicitly told me. The last thing she told me is she's going off grid. Essentially, she didn't say it in these words, but essentially she said, "I'm disappearing without any tracing, electronic tracing of any kind." Because I knew that she had left everything electronic behind her except her cell phone. And 2 days after I dropped her, she says, "You're not going to be able to reach me in 24 hours from now. I'm dropping my cell phone behind." So she is on a trip of survivalism, absolutely independent from the system, off grid, total 007 style.
And that doesn't seem that far-fetched to me. Like they do that. People do that. People do that. It's
and
not,
if a guy did it though, he would be like a deadbeat. Like everybody would pile on him and say, "You're a piece of shit. Like, how could you abandon your family?" But when a woman does it,
She must be murdered.
You must have murdered her.
Yeah, she must be murdered because nobody would. Yeah.
You must have murdered her and then went online talking about sanitizing your house and posting like a bunch of ribs that you just cooked.
Right.
That's reasonable, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a nice tweet that I did, photographing the whole bone structure of a cow that we had slaughtered.
So, when did you think this would happen in your life? Like when you got together with Mama JF, was it something you saw come? Because you're a smart guy. Like this seems like a nightmare to deal with. Did you know this was in the cards and you just didn't care? Or?
Unfortunately, I know. Unfortunately, I have the brain to calculate these things, and so I know just how much these girls will hurt me, just by being chaotic and uncontrollable. But you have to have your dick in a vagina. That is just the fundamental principle of life, and the rest we're gonna deal with it as it comes to us.
It's like what's his name? The pitcher, Eastbound and Down, Kenny Powers. But with a French accent. You have to have your dick in a vagina.
Right.
Sounds more sophisticated. Do you want to talk about? I don't know if any of this is true, but I always see clips of like you going to court for getting custody of some of these women. I always see strange legal postings of stuff you're doing to get some of these women, and I never know what it is or who they're talking about. But is any of that interesting? Do you want to talk about any of that?
Well, I mean, the thing is, people misrepresent this story so much. They say I exploited a mentally ill girl, which is absolutely incorrect. There was an adult woman, 19-year-old. Mm-hmm. She was a big fan of my rap career because, long story, but I had a rap career before.
What?
And
really? Where is it? I gotta look this up.
I have my rap against G-Man, a freestyle battle, has done like 200,000 views.
I didn't know that.
You can check up the JF rap on Drunken Peasants. Anyway, she was a big fan of my rap song. And so she contacted me, wanted to start a family, didn't like her father. Yeah. So, okay, I'm like, we talk on the phone for a couple of months. And then I say, let's live together. So we were fiancé in the sense that I had promised her that, we're going to marry ourselves and I'll take care of you forever. And so we start living together for 3 weeks. And her father always disagreed with her coming to my home and living with me. And it was like, JF, you have to stop her. You don't. Before she came to me, before I saw her, he told me, Jeff, you have to stop this relationship. You have no idea how ugly my daughter is. Like, you've never seen her. You only
Buddy,
spoke on the phone.
I'm doing you a favor. Look, man, she's fucking busted. You don't want
it's
this.
Figuratively.
And he was literally telling me, like, my daughter is retarded. You don't want to be with her. And this absolute beauty of a female arrives at my home. A 10 out of 10, absolutely like to fall on the ground where your heart melts when you see her. And I was like, this little fucker.
A woman you really want to kill. You would really stick it to her, right?
And so I'm like, okay, who owns this woman? Herself or her father?
Yeah.
And I do the computation. I look at the Constitution. Well, it does seem that she is entitled by constitutional rights to suck my dick. And so told her father to fuck himself, and I took her in.
That really doesn't go well. I've seen guys doing that. And Ralph did that.
I mean,
it didn't work out well for him.
I have a French accent. I did it very politely. I didn't say go fuck yourself. I said technically she is entitled to make her decisions. Bye bye. So he was frustrated by this, and he wanted to capture her basically, but she was an adult woman. So what did he do? He made a ex parte order finding her to be mentally incapable of consenting to sex in Texas while she was living with me in North Carolina. He sent a private bodyguard along.
She's 19.
Yes,
he did.
yes,
So he
she's
got
19.
a court to declare her like
unfit to
retarded?
make decisions for herself. Basically.
Retarded in her absence, and we're talking about a woman who was studying at the university. Not a retarded woman at all. In fact, a very high IQ woman. She is still as of today, she is one of the most intelligent women I've met.
So that's why everyone
He did
says you
that in
tried
her
to
back.
abduct a retarded woman because she was living with you, and the dad said
She's retarded.
She's retarded, and the court said, well, you can't possibly prove that a woman is retarded or not. So sure. Yeah, she's
and
retarded.
especially not in her absence, and especially not in the way it was done, ex parte. But somehow the laws of Texas are just like most laws of most states. They are absolutely ridiculous on this point.
Yeah.
This is used for people like Britney Spears to kidnap young women, and mostly to stop them from reproducing, essentially. Because it's always a subject. When it's a young woman, it's about her desire to have babies. And she had the desire to have babies with me. She would have had a great genetic bounty by getting a Chad billionaire of crypto like me, but too bad. So he sent a private bodyguard to attack me at my home, kidnap her, and bring her against her will in Texas. She was physically beating to not be captured that way. And I was stuck in a situation where I don't have guns. I'm an immigrant in the U.S. I can't shoot the guy. I can't do anything.
Wow.
And it's like, and I even complained to the police, like, this is an illegal home invasion, physical assault on me. I had injuries onto me, and the police didn't care about it because, there was an ex parte order. Well, an ex parte order doesn't give you the right to kidnap an adult. What the fuck are they saying? So anyways, I find myself, I went to Texas, drove to Texas, tried to explain to the judge that what he was doing was evil and that he should stop. And that she should be free to do whatever she wants.
It's like the Iliad happening right here. JF's driving to Texas to get the Helen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back.
Drove. I mean, it was a long drive from North Carolina to Texas. Wow. And the judge didn't want to hear anything. He just shut me down and said, "You don't have the right to speak here." And I was like, "Hey, sir, this is a case about me. My name is right there on your order."
So the judge said, "Yeah, she's retarded. Get out of here." That's it.
He wasn't swayed by your accent?
The judge said, "You're not a family member of hers." And I was like, I'm her fiance. And he was like, well, you can't be her fiance because here's her father. And he says she doesn't have a fiance. So she wasn't even there, even at the second hearing. I mean, they were detaining her against her will and deceiving her into thinking that there was no legal case against her. So basically, we have a bunch of violent people who have partnered with the strong arm of the state to steal women from us, and that should be eliminated. But that's another story.
Yeah, it's
a little less grave.
What is the deal with like these dads that are, I don't want to say protective, but they seem like overly possessive of their daughter's sexuality and reproductivity. I noticed it with Ralph, the dads of his baby mamas, and I mean, I don't want to talk about the guy's private stuff for everyone, but he's just dealing with a lot, and it's like these dads just will not fuck off, and I see it. I've seen it with other people too, like exactly what you're describing. What is the deal with that?
Well, the problem is we are in an evolutionary transition. Female decision making hasn't been a thing for 7 million years. And a bunch of liberals have decided, let's act as if it was always that way and females can always do their decisions. The reality is females have always been constrained by violence, money, and all sorts of considerations to basically be pushed into the arms of a man and basically to protect themselves either from the climate or from the lack of food. They always were pushed by circumstance or by other people. And I think we're in a species that leaves a lot of control on the parent, even in older age when the female starts being reproductive, because the social network around the act of reproduction in humans matter a lot. It matters about alliances. It matters whether you're going to get inheritance in the inheritance structure of the tribe, either inheritance of power or money. So it mattered a lot in our history that fathers controlled who they were giving their daughters to. And I think that that's why we have difficulty really stepping into the liberalism that we claim to have.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's causing a lot of problems for people.
Yes.
Women?
Well, for guys who are getting their wives yanked away from them.
Sure. Isn't that doing them a favor?
Yeah, they're doing it. That's true. I guess. Then you got to start over, find a new wife.
You know.
Big pain in the ass. How would you, if I wanted to kill my wife, what would be a good way that I could do it, do you think? And get away with it?
If I did it.
Yeah, if I did it.
Very OJ. Very OJ.
I'm surprised that the clips haven't come out yet, but I have extended descriptions of how to kill someone while not being caught. I think I just made too many shows in my life, and that the leftists have difficulties actually browsing through my whole history. But yeah, what I explained in the Brian Koberger story, you remember Brian Koberger, this guy who was a criminology student, went into a fraternity kind of house of college student and killed the ladies that were in there, and there was one man also. And he seemed to think he could get away with it.
Yeah.
And this idiot turned his cell phone after starting to drive toward the home. Like, he drove 10 minutes toward the home he was going to commit a murder, then turned off his cell phone halfway on the road. That is the first stupid thing.
Why don't you just leave your cell phone at home?
Then
right.
That's probably a good idea.
No, what I explained in this show is that modern murder cannot be executed if you don't have a full electronic alibi. This means it's not enough to leave your cell phone at home. They will detect this. You would need, if you wanted to escape the police, you would need a simulation of your hand clicking on the phone. So you need a little robot that makes these movements as you would do them, or you need some macro recorder. So you have an electronic alibi.
Okay.
That is the modern standard.
What if I send my phone like on an Uber, and I put it in the Uber and then send it away somewhere else, like the opposite direction?
It's very easy to know that the difference between a human who carries a phone and he's going to click on all sorts of things that's going to generate socket connections to Gmail, to Maps, and just a cell phone hanging like this is not enough.
Okay, so I could like record me doing my phone for a whole day and then set up some kind of a thing on the phone to replicate that while I'm out doing the murders.
What if they find the software on the phone doing that?
And then I would take my girlfriend's phone and set it somewhere and like have it do. I would have to put some kind of long-term charger on it, right, and send it out so it's always active and pinging,
right,
away from the murdering area.
The second principle of good murder is absolutely expressed in Dexter. If there is no crime scene, it is so much harder, and so there needs to be a complete elimination of even the ID that a murder has happened.
How would you do that?
Dexter was doing it. Well, Dexter was doing it with wrapped plastics, and he was throwing it all in at the bottom of the ocean.
Okay.
But there needs to be no spot where the bodies are found.
Yeah.
That'd be tough, I guess. For me, do it over a swimming pool or something. I don't want to do all that plastic stuff. That's a lot of work. That's basically like decorating for Halloween, and that's probably why I'm going to kill her, is for forcing me to decorate for Halloween. So
plastic looks good when you're at Home Depot and it's right there and you grab the cylinder. But when you unfold it, it gets in your running shoes and it's really impractical.
Those are good tips. Okay. Well, what's next for you now that you've
how do you top this?
How do you top this one? Yeah, are you going to fund Hezbollah or something? You're going to join Hamas?
Well, actually, I am a major suspect on the internet right now for the attacks by the Palestinian Hamas against Israel. People have developed a conspiracy theory that I launched the attacks in Israel to escape the mediatic attention for my suspicion of murder.
Yeah, I believe that. You were heating up. I was in a big fight with Null, and then Palestine attacked Israel. I'm like, oh well, all this is done. Yeah, fuck. We got to start over when when Israel's done wiping out Gaza, we got to restart all these beefs again and get people interested again. I hope that Mama JF comes back. I hope she finds what she's looking for.
I'm super confident that she's alive. She's been doing it before. And even if something happened, an accident, I don't know, she gets attacked by a bear. Ultimately, Mama JF has taken risks in her life. She got lucky for most of her life. I expect her to still be lucky. But I know that whether she's dead or alive, she's free.
Are you saying that you coated her in honey before you dropped her off, and then she was might have been attacked by
Winnie the Pooh?
Winnie the Pooh.
That is another strategy. The best murders are those you don't have to commit.
That's
I love that everyone's telling you everyone's freaking out on them Jeff, you have to stop talking. Stop talking. You're incriminating yourself. You're incriminating yourself. Don't you know what you're doing? It's like, guys, what are you talking? This is not how police work is done. Does it worry you at all that you'll get got for being innocent? Innocent guys do go to prison. Does that worry you at all?
No. The reason I'm allowing myself some comedy is that I know first that my alibis are super solid, and I've seen the work of the policemen. They've updated me every day on this, and they were knocking at my door every day also. And I've seen their work. It's absolutely top of the world type of tracking and work. So I know that these guys know exactly what I'm doing. They know what kind of guy I am. They actually, they looked me up. They Googled me, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we Googled you." And so they know exactly what's happening, and they are very good at what they do.
That's exactly what I was going to say, what he just said. He's talking like a guy who knows that there's no way he could have done it. The people who are important know that he didn't do it, so he's fucking around.
Yeah. You got just the clip of him talking to this girl last night where she's like a law student. Yeah. So she's trying to grill him on. What did she say? Prima facie. You said, and she said she didn't know what that meant, and then you called her stupid and hung up.
She accused me of having no food in my fridge because I made a little joke in my previous.
Well, women hate that. Women hate not having rotting food in the fridge. That'll really piss them off.
For the first time in my life, my wife has disappeared, so I have the peace of mind of controlling my fridge for the first time in my adult life. And this fucking bitch of the internet decides that she has an opinion on my fridge. Are you gonna leave us alone one day? I mean, I'm starting to believe the MG Towers were right.
Yeah, that we should just go do our own thing. MGTOWs, men going their own way.
Yeah. You just don't watch female YouTube channels. You totally withdraw from the system.
Yeah. Well, I hope she comes back. I hope you didn't kill her. I don't know.
No.
I guess we don't.
I'm sure that she's alive, and I'm sure that she's happy and free.
I know what you're going through would be stressful, like a woman, someone you love leaving.
He sounds relaxed.
It is stressful. I sound relaxed, but it is stressful. But what people don't understand is I was stressed 3 months, 4 months before you guys. Everything you guys are learning in the last 3 days, I've known it for 3 or 4 months. So my stress has been past. There are grief periods that you have, not necessarily the grief of knowing that she's dead, but the grief of having control over your wife, the grief of, you're going to have to keep living without knowing. I've gone through all these grief periods. You guys are jumping on some fresh honey that you think is new, but that I had the emotions for months ago, that I couldn't talk about it publicly.
Yeah. And you are kind of lucky that she didn't Gone Girl you or fuck you over in some way.
People talk to me about Gone Girl, but I have no idea what that is. It's a movie about what happens.
The girl leaves her husband, and when she leaves, she also frames him for her murder. She did all this stuff secretly to make it look like he murdered her, even though she's just off living her life.
I'm so scared of this in the future with genetic test. I mean, with genetic tests, you could remake a DNA sample of me from just my 23andMe account, and you could spread it all over a murder scene. It's insane. So I'm so paranoid about this. I have 24/7 tracking of myself and filming of myself. There's literally a camera above me while I sleep.
Really?
Leaving nothing to chance.
So I
leave nothing.
I want to get a camera. I've been threatening my girlfriend with this for a long time, that I'm going to set up a
Sleep
camera.
Cam? Yeah,
so I can track who is hogging the bed. So I can put a line on the camera and hammer her with it
in
the morning. But then I'm worried I'll see ghosts.
That's another evolutionary thing.
What kind of hammer do you use?
A hammer to kill
you
her.
said hammer her?
Metaphorically, I'm gonna hammer her.
Okay.
Ball
With the-
peen.
A ball peen, a sledgehammer for her.
Shot peen. Yeah.
I thought you had recommendations of types of hammer and everything, but it was a metaphor. Sorry.
Yes. You're in good spirits. It's good to talk to you again, man. Does anything make you enraged? Does anything really piss you off? Is it the
I am
women-
enraged.
Go ahead.
I am enraged from the beginning of my adult life. I've been enraged at the stupidity of human beings, and I still am.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It doesn't get better, unfortunately.
No.
You get more disappointed.
These chicks are all like, they watch like true crime podcasts all day, and they're like, oh, here we go. I'm in the middle of it now. This motherfucker. It's like, no, he's actually going through a really like sad thing that happens to a lot of guys and women. If fucking stop harassing him.
What you described there is dehumanization of the man. And
Yes.
it's the default mode of psychological interaction with men in our society, and it needs to stop. It's like, yeah, we have our little edgy comments, we have our little facade, but please understand, everyone is a human being behind, and we have all of the normal human emotions, and sometimes we're just playing with you guys because you're so stupid, you fall for everything we throw at you.
Yeah, agreed. Have a good Sunday, man. Thank you for calling in.
Bye-bye.
Have a good break from the internet. There we go. There he is. There he goes.
What a character.
That fucking murderer
Yeah.
who obviously killed his wife.
Yeah.
He said he was taking a break from the internet.
Yeah.
And they're like, why? Because you killed
You're
your
going to
wife.
go on the run.
You're gonna go on the lam.
Yeah.
Let me text mine.
He was talking like a guy who is very secure that he has nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, it happens so much. Women just leave.
Dude, I've known people that's happened to, like literally just up like without a trace, and then like she'll resurface like a while later. It's like, oh, she's living with some guy in some little fucking town somewhere. It's like nobody.
Jenny from Forrest Gump,
like even her,
Penelope Cruz and Blow. Come on, guys.
Yeah. It's
We learned this stuff.
Yeah. To think that that they women don't go out for cigarettes, like you said, is
they do.
kind of insane. They do exactly the same thing.
Thank you for watching this clip. This is the CACA Welfare. Remember to like and subscribe.